Welcome to episode 13 of FoundersGyan. Thanks for tuning in. This week's guest on the show is Mr. Tom Jose, one of the founders and Chief Marketing Officer of TalView, that is TalView.com. TalView is a company that has pioneered online video interviews for corporates and is one of the leaders in the segment. I'm so excited and pleased to bring Tom's insights and wisdom to all our listeners. Also, we recently concluded the AGC 2015 contest and are glad to announce that the winner is Mr. Rohit Nayak, who runs I Like Girl Birth. Congratulations, Rohit. You win a free pass worth ₹5499 to the AGC 2015 event in Delhi. You can read more about the contest and how Rohit won if you visit www.foundersgyan.com/AGC, that is A for Apple, G for God, and C for Cat. Now it's time to move on to the show.
What did the man say? Give me a lever long enough and I'll move the world. Well, that's exactly what we're doing here. This is divine inspiration, folks.
Tom, welcome to the show. Quick brief on Tom. He's the co-founder and Chief Marketing Officer of TalView, a company that aims to change the way companies interview potential employees via video. An engineer by education, Tom has held various consulting roles and also forayed into the startup world way back in 2008 when he set up Green Apple International, an apparel design and sourcing firm. It's a great honor to meet somebody like you, and thanks a lot for taking time out of your busy schedule to share your knowledge, wisdom and time with our listeners. Thank you, Tom, for agreeing to be on this show.
Yeah, it's great, Ram. Look forward to it.
Okay. Tom, can you fill in the blanks from the intro about your journey before TalView?
Okay, so, after completing my engineering, I kind of worked with L&T Infotech into the SAP consulting division for I think 1.5 years. And then I realized I want to do something else, like probably start up my own business. And that's when I went and did my MBA from NMIMS.
Okay.
It was a 2-year course, and post that I kind of realized that a little more knowledge will kind of help. And then I joined management consulting firm KPMG.
Okay.
Worked on a couple of international projects.
Okay.
And then I thought it's probably the right time to kind of jump into it, and that's when I decided that we'll kind of start off with a firm. Okay. And then I teamed up with my friends Sanjo, Mani, Jobin and all of them.
Okay.
And then it took off.
Okay. So, what exactly is TalView and how did you come up with this idea? And also, isn't Skype video calling an alternative to what you're doing?
So, I'll probably answer it in parts.
Yeah, sure.
So, when we started off, we were called Interview Master.
Okay.
And so Sanjo had passed out from IIT Bombay MBA, I had passed out from NMIMS, and we all saw a lot of hype around the MBA placements. So Sanjo was already doing something in IIT Bombay where he was recording the videos and showing it to the alumni and seeing a feedback. And then we kind of decided, if we can have an online platform where you can record these videos and kind of share it with alumni and professors to give a feedback on the student, it'll be great for an interview coaching. So we started with this for colleges, but we failed very badly there.
Okay.
Because professors loved the product, they tried to implement it, but when it came to evaluating the candidates, professors were not comfortable.
Okay.
In the sense, they didn't want to take that extra effort and stuff like that.
Okay.
So we were sitting on a lot of checks of purchase orders and stuff, but couldn't really execute it well because one of the stakeholders was not kind of a game for it.
Okay.
So that's when we pivoted and we went after corporates.
Okay.
So one of the HRs actually told us, I can use it for my screening. All I need to know is, whether the candidate is good or bad, and then decide.
Right.
So how we're different from Skype is, in Skype you have to be there on the other side.
Right.
In TalView, the system will do the interview for you.
Okay.
System will ask the questions.
Okay.
Get the video recordings.
Okay.
And whenever the evaluator or the hiring manager has time, can kind of see the video responses over a mobile. And then decide whether the candidate is good enough.
Okay. And how effective is this? So, let's say I give an interview via TalView and the hiring manager looks at it, and then is it like the first round?
It's like the screening round.
It's like the screening
round.
round.
So, I'll tell you, the problem that happens in the industry is everyone copies the keywords in the job description and puts it in the resume.
Right.
And as a HR, when you look at the resume, everything looks good.
Right.
But when you call that candidate in a face-to-face round or for a telephonic round,
Right.
you will realize it's not that fit.
Right.
But you've already wasted 20-25 minutes chasing that candidate and 20-25 minutes conducting the interview.
Right.
And in telephonic round also, there are a lot of fraud cases that happen in India.
Right.
So to avoid all that, you kind of use TalView for screening, where you ask specific set of questions. The same candidate has to come online in the video, answer those questions. You can go to any question of your choice, and then decide whether the candidate is good enough. His answers are according to your expectation, and meet only the best ones.
Okay, that's brilliant. Now, for our budding founders listening out there, can you tell us some tips on how to come up with a winning idea?
So, see, one of the things that I kind of always discuss with budding entrepreneurs is solve an idea which is actually a problem for you also. So that you're passionate about it, you know in and out about it, and when you talk to a lot of people and explain the idea, they can also relate to it. So try and work on that idea rather than trying to come up with something really out of the world which is not practical when it comes to implementation and things like that. So find out a problem that you face in your life or your family members face in your life and try to solve it, and I'm pretty sure you'll come out with a winning idea.
Okay, so that's all good in theory, I would say, but let's say I have a problem that I need to solve, and then what do I need to do in order to make it into a reality? Not everybody is an entrepreneur, so for budding founders out there, can you tell us what's the next step? Okay, there's a problem, there's maybe a market for it.
Got it. So, see, one of the things that I advise is there is this professor called as Steve Blank. Okay, he's from, I think he's from Stanford University, but he has something called as business canvas. So that business canvas, it kind of tells you to kind of write down the problem that you solve, what are the resources you require, and it makes you think from all angles, a 360-degree view of what you're trying to do. And I would suggest you kind of download that business canvas, try filling that up, then you will have more and more clarity. That's one of the first steps that I would say. Second thing is jump into the problem, try and come out with a minimum viable product, talk to a lot of people. They'll probably point out a glaring gap in your idea, or probably an idea which is already being implemented which you don't know about.
Right.
So talk to a lot of people, and then if it is positive, come out with a minimum viable product, execute it, see whether it really can scale up, and then take a plunge.
So, if you look at things that are in the market, the various startups that are doing really well, it's maybe not really a new problem, right? Sometimes it could be an existing problem, but solved in a much more efficient way.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So it need not be a new problem.
Right.
It could be something that is already happening, but you kind of go a step ahead and kind of ensure that it's much better executed and better option is given to the user, the end user.
So that may not really resonate with your tip on trying to solve a problem that you face, because the problem is already solved, right?
No, so I'll tell you, the example that comes to my mind is when Zomato started off, right?
Right.
You had the menu cards.
Right.
You had the printouts of the menu cards. You had a couple of menu cards in your office.
Right.
You could refer to that and order.
Right.
But the problem is you don't have that options, right? You wanted 10, 20 restaurants around you. You have probably 2 or 3 that your receptionist has kept with her.
Right.
So they went ahead, scanned the whole thing, got it online, scaled it up.
Right.
So although there was a solution existing back then, your hard copies of menu card, they went ahead, scaled it up, got much more, because they actually faced a problem.
Right.
So from that terms, whatever you face currently, so today when I look at it, companies like Foodpanda, Tiny Owl,
right,
they're getting the delivery problem solved. So
right,
you have always had a restaurant, you had some kind of a delivery happening,
right,
but they are kind of making it more professional and the businesses around that.
Right. So the tip that I can glean from this is there might be a solution for a problem that you're facing, but maybe you're not too happy with the solution currently in the market.
Yeah, you kind of got it right.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Okay. Let's move a bit to a bit of a personal question. Now, we all hear about founders sacrificing family time to make their ventures a success. I know you, just before the interview, you're also telling me that your wife is in Bombay and you keep traveling. Right now, we are in Bangalore. So, how do you manage to balance business and family?
See, in the most difficult part will be kind of when you start off. So that's when you will have fund crisis and stuff like that, and you really don't know where you're headed and stuff. So if I look at it from that perspective, the problems that I face currently is not exactly a problem.
Okay.
So it's only when you kind of start off, you're going to face a lot of issues. There'll be, especially in Indian community, there'll be a lot of naysayers, your cousins, your uncles, aunties will come and tell you what stupid thing are you doing.
Right.
And if you try to explain them, they'll probably find out glaring gaps.
Right.
So at that stage, you'll face a lot of problems with respect to the emotional aspect to it and probably the financial aspect also.
Right.
But going ahead, yes, there will be a lot of sacrifices, but I think that also happens in a corporate job that you have.
Right.
So, any which ways, if you're trying to kind of climb up the corporate ladder, you're going to put in 18 hours of efforts.
Right.
So, might as well put that in a startup and have something of your own at the end of the day. So,
right. Okay, excellent advice. Can you tell us a bit about your co-founders and how did you meet them? And the second part of the question is, how can would-be founders meet co-founders?
Got it. So Sanjay was a common friend among all of us. So he knew Mani from IIT Bombay. He knew Jobin, which they studied together. And Sanjay's mom and my mom were very good friends.
Okay.
So he was kind of based out of Kerala at that point, and I was based out of Bombay. So our moms were the common connect.
Okay.
So he reached out to me and discussed the ideas, and then I said, okay, let's kind of sit back and start off with something.
Okay.
So that's how we kind of met and started off.
Okay. Okay.
So the tips that I can have is, kind of reach out to your friends who are really good, with whom you can really work on and lean on when you require, support, maybe financially and most importantly emotionally when you are launching and running a startup.
Right. What about all these? There are a lot of sites these days which kind of you can post that, okay, I need a CTO, I need a co-founder, etc., etc. So do you kind of think that will work out because you don't?
I'm not sure because I've not tried it. But if you want to gel well with a person and all, you need to know that person for some time.
Right.
And don't try to get these wannabe co-founders.
Right.
I think they'll be the biggest bottlenecks in your startups. So pick up someone from your network whom you know well, or kind of start off alone, scale it up to some extent, and reach out to the best in the industry and get them on as co-founders, right?
Okay.
So rather than just getting in someone.
Okay, excellent. Is there a daily ritual or a morning ritual that you follow? Can you share it with myself and our listeners?
So typically what I do is, so I look after sales and marketing in my firm. So typically morning when I come in, the first thing I do is talk to all my guys spread across India, understand where we are standing, and this is like everyday ritual.
Okay.
Talk to them, find out what's happening. That takes me around 2 hours to reach out to all the guys, help plan out the day. Okay. And then I check my mails, clear up all the pending things, especially the urgent things. The other things are kind of put on hold.
Okay.
And I think that helps me a lot because initially when I started off, there was a lot of confusion around, addressing minor problems. Okay. And I used to waste a lot of time around that. Okay. But later on, I started realizing that, prioritize your time well. Prioritize. Okay. So I put the keyword as prioritize.
Okay. And what about from a personal front? Do you have any activities that you do on a daily basis, maybe workout or?
Yeah, so I go for morning walks. Okay. So it kind of helps me clear up my mind and think ahead for the day. Okay. So that's a time I get alone for myself and helps me plan out better.
Okay, excellent. Can you tell us something about yourself that is not commonly known?
I kind of watch a lot of startup videos.
Okay.
So that's what I do instead of watching a movie or a series. Okay. So I think that also helps a lot.
Okay. So startup videos in the sense, do you mean TED Talks or?
It's basically, so one of the things that I refer to is Pando Daily. Okay. So you find all the top entrepreneurs, especially the successful ones, talking and giving a lot of tips on how things worked out for them, their story.
Okay.
So you kind of pick up a lot of things from that discussion.
Okay. How big are these videos? Are they short videos, big videos?
Yeah, they're actually 1-2 hour videos.
Okay.
So I kind of watch it in 20 minutes slots.
Okay. Okay. So instead of watching a movie, you'd rather spend time on this.
Yeah. You see, in a movie also you get a story and stuff like that. Here you get a much better story and
a life story.
So kind of enjoy it.
Okay. And would you say this is kind of almost as good as the movie stories?
It depends on the individual who's watching it. So he can probably value it much more than a movie.
Right.
And I think those guys will be the right guys who will kind of scale up and become successful.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Now, what is the best advice somebody has given you, or alternatively, best advice that you have heard?
At this stage, one of the best advice that I got is kind of focus on priorities.
Mm-hmm.
Have the priorities set out very clear.
Mm-hmm.
Focus and work towards that. Otherwise, you'll get lost in this journey of entrepreneurship. You'll have 100 different things to do.
Right.
And if you don't prioritize well, nothing will happen.
Right. So just building up on that, would you say prioritize like top 3, top 5, top 10? It could go on, right? Or just one?
It will be on real-time basis to be very fast. So you will have probably a most important client pissed off on one of the smallest issue.
Right.
So it's better to address that and ensure that you're kind of fixing that, and probably reach out to the client yourself as a founder to ensure that the client is well taken care of.
Okay.
Rather than focusing on daily stuff that you kind of do.
Okay. Because I was just reading this book called The One Thing.
Okay.
I think it's by Tim Ferriss, if I'm not mistaken, and the tip that he gives is focus on the one thing that you can do today and at the moment, which makes all other things irrelevant.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And as an entrepreneur, what I realized is, when you are kind of pushed on with hundreds of things, you'll try to do 60 things, but none of them will be 100% complete.
Right.
Instead of that, try and do 20 things which will be 100% complete.
Right. Excellent. Okay, we are almost halfway through the questions. Now, startups come with a lot of pressure. So, can you give us some tips on how we can handle pressure when things aren't going well?
Yeah. So, and typically in the journey of startups, there will be a lot of ups and downs.
Right.
And maybe both of them will be momentary.
Right.
But what I've noticed is successes are momentary, and the downfalls will be a little extended journey. So the way you can handle pressure is, like I said earlier, right? Prioritize the things which will become a bottleneck for you,
right,
going forward, for the company going forward.
Right.
Address those issues, focus on them, and move on to the next task.
Okay.
So that takes off a lot of pressure, and don't get too bogged down by things.
Okay.
Like it happens. So shit happens. You can't help it.
Right.
So focus on the next thing, that what you can do better, and kind of take it forward.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, can you tell us about your worst entrepreneurial moment and how did you turn it around and the lessons you learned from that experience?
It's probably not the worst moment, and probably it kind of happens in product companies.
Right.
So in one of the demos is one very important client. We had some changes in the server that we had just pushed on, and because of that there were some disconnects in the product. Because of which the product didn't work well in the client demo, in which there were around 12 people. And I kind of lost the client. The client was quite pissed off, and they had this mentality that Indian startups will probably not match up.
So this was a non-Indian. It was an overseas client.
No, it was an Indian client.
It was an Indian client. Okay,
with the belief that Indian products don't work. So I lost that client for 8 months. Nothing happened with that client.
Right.
But then I reached out. I showed them, look what's happening in the industry. We are working with so much. It did happen, and I admitted it. It's a problem. The reason why it happened.
Right.
And then they gave us an opportunity again, and then we kind of converted them. So what I realized from the whole experience is it's better to be upfront and honest.
Right.
And and be kind of well prepared when you land up.
So that story seems slightly strange to me, because just because of a goofed up demo, the clients got so pissed.
Yes, because See, the problem is, first of all, especially in India, they don't want to work with startups.
Okay.
Although they kind of talk a lot about startups, it's very difficult to get in. So we are into enterprise business.
Right.
So enterprises are very finicky about something going wrong.
Right.
So they are very scared to put the step ahead.
Right.
And some of the early adopters who do that, and they see a small goof up, it kind of, we lose their trust.
Right. Right.
So then what we realized is, it's better to be upfront, honest, tell them that look, these are things that is in development, this is the roadmap that we have,
Right.
and we're going to fix it by so and so date. So it kind of helps.
Right, right. So I find that quite weird because I've worked in big corporates and goof ups happen all over the place and people just laugh about it, you know, and they say that if goof ups don't happen, then something is wrong, you know.
So I'll tell you one thing. So if a goof up happens in an SAP or an Oracle product,
right,
you don't realize it's a goof up.
Right.
You don't realize it's probably a bug that just happened. You'll
Right.
probably report it thinking that you didn't understand the product well.
Right.
But when it's a startup,
Right.
and a growing startup,
Right.
you kind of think that you know it all,
Right.
and the product is at fault.
Right. Right.
And in probably 40% of our cases, it's the client's understanding of the product that made him feel it's a bug,
Right.
rather than So then we go back and explain to them, look, you have not understood it well. This is how it works,
Right.
and then they say, okay, they admit it, fine.
Okay.
So stuff.
Okay, cool. What is the future that you envision for TalView?
So we are going global,
Okay.
and we are trying to change the way recruitment is done. So if you look at recruitment, I don't think recruitment process has changed over the last 150 years.
Okay.
It's the same process where you kind of get a letter in olden days
Right.
from the person,
Right.
go through the letter, kind of meet him across the table, and
Right.
then decide whether to hire him or not.
Right.
I think from that standpoint, it has not really changed. The letter has become a resume.
Right.
You have a fancy term for it.
Right.
But other than that, the whole process remains the same.
Right.
You source the candidates from various channels, you get the resume, you
Right.
meet up with him, and then decide whether to hire him or not.
Right.
So technology can actually bridge a lot of things in this process, which is not
Right.
efficient.
Right.
So that's where we envision that we play a crucial role in changing the way you change hiring. You use social media, you use mobile, cloud, etc.
Right.
to completely change the way hiring works and
Right.
make it more convenient.
Okay. Okay. So I'm a bit intrigued. So can you take me through the entire process of the hiring? So let's say I'm company X and I want to hire some people using TalView. Now, what happens? Do I get in touch with recruiters? Do I
Yes.
source candidates directly? Can you just walk us through the flow?
So basically, what happens is we seamlessly plug into their system.
Okay.
So you are sourcing from hundreds of channels, which is fine.
Right.
All the sources come to TalView.
Okay.
The resumes are shortlisted.
Okay.
The candidates are invited for an online assessment,
Okay.
which could be a multiple choice question test.
Okay.
So 30% of candidates get filtered out there.
Okay.
Then they come to the video interview round.
Okay.
So you kind of interview only 70% of the crowd.
Okay.
And in that 70% also, you go through the video responses, and
Right.
then I've seen my clients inviting only around 10-15% for a face-to-face round.
Okay.
Instead of getting the CVs and inviting 30-40%,
Right.
you're coming down to 10%.
Right.
And finally, you're going to hire the best out of that.
Right.
So some of my clients, right, they had an initial face-to-face conversion of around 12%.
Okay.
That means out of every 100 people they meet, they hired 12. Right now, their conversion is around 66%.
Once they started using TalView.
And 6 months after using TalView, their conversion is 66%.
Okay.
That means out of every 100 people they meet, they're hiring 66 people. Out of 3 people they meet, they're hiring 2.
Right. Right.
So that's a huge time and cost saving for them.
Right.
So this is possible because in TalView, the system conducts the interview for you.
Right.
You check couple of video responses and they decide whether they're good enough.
Okay.
You give them a chance to tell their story on video.
Okay. So is it like the questions are text format and the person needs to say, or is there somebody on the other end?
The questions are on the text format.
Okay.
So you can open it on your mobile app. The
Okay.
question is shown in the text format, and then the video responses are captured of the candidate.
Okay.
And you have just 6 seconds to respond. So
Okay.
you can't copy, you can't cheat, you can ask someone else and prepare and come back.
Okay.
It's just like a spontaneous interview, but
Okay.
probing does not happen to a great extent.
Okay. And I think TalView touches very much on the body language, if I'm not mistaken.
So everything that you need to know about the candidate, his personality, his
Right.
body language, his
Right.
subject domain knowledge,
Right.
presentability. All that is kind of captured in the video, and you kind of come to know.
So working with TalView for a few years now, three and a half years, I think. Is there any tips you would give on body language when candidates are appearing for a video interview? Let's say that the candidate is good. Let's say the candidate is genuine. What tips would you give if I were to appear for a video interview? Because it might not be TalView. There could be 10 other companies. It might be the future.
Got it. So see, in video interviews, you ensure that you're sitting in a silent environment.
Right.
Your background is pretty much, neat.
Right.
Not like luxurious, but at least neat.
Right.
And you have enough lighting on your face.
Right.
Your hardware is working fine. The
Right.
the webcam, the mic, and stuff like that.
Right.
And preferably be dressed in a formal pattern.
Right.
So that kind of helps, and ensure that you have your internet properly connected. There is no
Right.
fan or something that is running and kind of causing disturbances.
Right.
So that kind of helps.
Okay.
And
what about body language? Any tips? I mean, do you take only the face or it's the full?
No, you kind of get till the torso. So
Yeah.
So when you're talking to the computer, I do understand people will have some reservations.
Right.
But be open and talk just like you talk normally. So it kind of helps.
Right. Okay.
And you can refer to our blogs to know more about.
Okay, excellent. We will refer to your blog. So you have some lot of articles.
Yeah, so we have a lot of tips and articles around how to crack video interviews.
Okay,
so that kind of helps.
Excellent. Okay. Now, TalView is quite a mature company. It's about 3.5 years, right? If I'm not mistaken. And I know that hindsight is always 20/20. But what do you wish you did different when you started out?
So when you I normally don't delve too much into the past.
Right.
But if you were to ask me, we would have probably tried and got more and more early adopters talking in the industry really early on. So that's something that we didn't do right.
Talking in the sense?
Talking to their peer group, talking to LinkedIn, social media about TalView, about stuff.
Okay.
We did this last year where we told our clients, now since you like it and you're using it effectively, why don't you talk about us? And that kind of gave us a lot of introduction in the industry. We kind of reached out to a lot more clients. But that could have been done earlier on also. So that our growth would have been much faster.
So why wasn't it done? Isn't it an obvious step? Was there something?
So it was like a chicken and egg game where we were focusing more on the product.
Right.
And waiting for the clients to kind of come in.
Okay.
So
and themselves to kind of
experience it,
and you are kind of waiting for the clients to themselves say, "Wow, this is a great product. I need to go out and tell the world."
Yes. But in enterprises, it's better you go to the client and talk to them.
And I think that's an advice that holds good for any startup, right? Instead of expecting people to go about trumpeting your product. I think there should be a request. Maybe if you find the product useful, please talk.
So don't shy away from it. So if you were to ask me, I shied away from it.
Right.
Asking them to talk about us.
Right.
I shied away from it. I could have asked the moment I asked. So right now my clients tell me, Tom, I'm going to write about you guys in LinkedIn.
Right.
If you have some link, do share it with me. I'll kind of post that also.
Right.
And today we have conversations in LinkedIn where people are saying, I want to use video interviews. Which vendor do I use?
Right.
And I have 2 or 3 of my clients coming and telling them use TalView. We are using that.
Right.
And I'm sure those clients, if I had requested them earlier on, they'd have gone all the way out and kind of helped us out. So
right. Okay. So for the initial push, you definitely need to
be shameless.
Yeah. Okay.
So kind of that helps you a lot.
Okay.
And going forward, no one will notice that you are shameless at that point. So.
Right. Okay. By the time you would be big enough, right? So they would think it's pride rather than shamelessness. Okay. Excellent. Now, how can our listeners get in touch with you? Do you have a LinkedIn, Twitter? What are you?
So I'm active on LinkedIn as well as Twitter. So they can reach out to me over LinkedIn, and I kind of.
Okay, on LinkedIn we can search for Tom Joes TalView. And what about Twitter? What's your handle on Twitter?
It's @PTomJoes.
@PTomJoes. Tom Joes. Okay. Excellent. Okay, I just have one final question. But before I move on to that, I just want to take the time to acknowledge and thank you for sharing your knowledge to myself and our listeners. And I'm also very grateful for the value you are adding into the world by means of your company. Okay, and I think you're doing a great job. And
you are doing a great job, Ram, by
Okay.
kind of bridging us and the future entrepreneurs.
Okay, thanks a lot. So with that, we move on to the final question. So if there is one parting advice that you would give our would-be founders, what would that be?
So I would tell them, kind of start off fast.
Right.
The more and more you think and more logic you add to your idea, I think the idea seems non-workable.
Okay.
So if you look at it,
It becomes more complex.
More complex. If you look at it, many undergrads and dropouts are actually performing much better. Because the more education you have, the more logic you have.
Right.
It's most basically you become more and more risk averse.
Right.
So go through your idea, talk to a few people.
Right.
There will be risk.
Right.
But if you feel that there's a possibility that this can become a multi-billion-dollar thing, jump
Right.
onto it.
Right.
Don't hold back.
Right. Okay. Excellent advice, Tom. Really love it. So thank you, Tom, so much for your time, and it was a real pleasure chatting with you. And wish you continued success in your venture.
Thanks, Ram. Same to you.
Thank you.
There you have it, folks. Another inspiring story and entrepreneur. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did in producing the same. Please do share this with your friends via the nifty share icons on the show notes page, which is at www.foundersgyan.com/EP13. You can also email this link to folks who you think might benefit from this show. Also, check out all the top listened podcasts at www.foundersgyan.com/top. That is TOP. I'll see you all next week with yet another great startup and its founder. Till then, you know what this show is meant to be. I do hope you got inspired and do take action today. Thank you again for tuning in.